Steez, thanks.
Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks.
Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
Hi. Steez, thanks.
Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks.
Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
Our high-performance race team needs a high-performance technology partner.
At Red Bull Ampol Racing, we rely on HP computers to power our on-track winning performance.
The Supercars Championship ignites at Bathurst.
The HP product range keeps us on top from design to drive. Red Bull Ampol Racing, powered by HP and available right now at Harvey Norman.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
Hi. Steez, thanks.
Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks.
Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Repco. It starts with the parts. Yes, we've got your Wednesday night sorted with the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series, getting set for our very special qualifying coverage thanks to SwiftX. And we've got a couple of really cool tracks new to the E-Series in one way or another, because Road America is new to the series, Jonathan Simon, but we're going NASCAR racing tonight as well. Talk us through the night ahead.
It's a nice smorgasbord amount of racing action. We've got a brilliant oval event in our NASCAR next-gen vehicles. It's going to be exciting stuff. But first off, SwiftX qualifying around Road America for our pro gamers.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for Road America to join the Supercars E-Series. Nearly snuck in last year but this is a first to go to Elkhart Lake. And we're going to roll out with our supercars first. So this is the car that we obviously know and love in our Repco Supercars Championship, rolling out for SwiftX qualifying for the pro drivers. They're the gamers, as we like to call them, the guys who are no strangers to a sim. But straight off the back of this, the stars from the Repco Supercars Championship, Dunlop Super 2, and also Carrera Cup, plus a couple guys from the NASCAR Cup Series are going to be going out at Daytona in the next generation of NASCAR stock car. That is going to be something completely different. Wait to see how good these cars look with supercars paint schemes.
They look magnificent. Now, it's in good celebration of Gen 3 coming to the championship next year, which will be nice. And this is not a good celebration of SwiftX qualifying, a huge traffic jam. Chad, already heading into qualifying, the talk amongst the drivers is with such a long lap around Road America, over 2 minutes in length, you may only squeeze 1 or 2 hot laps in for the session. Already, drivers are sacrificing that third possible lap if you pushed at the start. And here is one of our new drivers who has entered the field in Kurt Stenberg, who replaces Sam Blacklock for round 3.
Welcome, Kurt, driving with the SwiftX colours this weekend. Supercars.com SwiftX if you want to learn a little bit more about this team. And cool to have Kurt on board for one night only. Proud West Aussie, never misses the round over in WA. He's been going every year since 1999, apart from last year when sadly we didn't make it over to Perth. And a man of my own heart, going to stand on the hill at Barbagallo and watch supercars racing. So good luck tonight, Kurt. And he has been waiting a long time for this opportunity.
Got a lot of pressure on him. SwiftX qualifying in the SwiftX colours in his first ever E-Series race. I can guarantee him and guarantee everybody this is the biggest stage he has ever raced on, and it's only qualifying.
And the driver that is behind is Josh Anderson. He's been spotting for Josh Anderson in the championship so far this year. So Josh needs a new spotter because he's only gone and lost him to the supercars grid. Love to see this angle back once again. Watch out for the fast footwork of Corey Shepherd, driving for the Pioneer DJ colours tonight. And teammate to James Golding in the All-Star race. So remember, we've got both the pros and the All-Stars ready to go. That Pioneer DJ car looking cool. Qualified on the front row at the Red Bull Ring. Couldn't quite back that up. Oh, gee, check out the traffic jam as everybody's waiting for their own spot on the road.
I've never seen anything like it. Well, I have. The only qualifying session I remember in motorsport was, in my entire lifetime, was, remember
Monza.
Formula One at Monza? Yeah. This is even worse. Insane stuff. Now remember, because I said you can only squeeze 2 hot laps in, we may see the most jumbled up grid we've ever had in E-Series history, apart from an oval, because you may see a driver make a mistake and not have opportunities to make amends for it.
This is a really technical circuit. It's such a difficult place to perfect the lap time. Not too dissimilar to Mount Panorama. And that'll be coming up in a couple weeks' time. That's a Pro-Am as well, which is pretty cool to see the All-Stars and the Pro drivers sharing a seat. So Corey, the youngest in the field, just 16, will be sharing with James Golding, which is a cool opportunity to share the real-world experience with a guy who's been and done it at Bathurst in the past. So we're off and running. Dane Warren, Walkinshaw Andretti United on a hat-trick of SwiftX Pole Awards in the championship so far. He has been the quick man so far in 2021.
And Josh Anderson needs to improve for sure. We know he's capable of potential podiums. He's very, very quick as well. He's competed in top world championships in sim racing. He's an engineering student too, Chad. We should mention that a number of these drivers in the field are either mechanical engineering students, mechatronics, all over the place, and they love to get involved in the world of motorsport in the engineering space, such as Dane Warren, who studies mechanical engineering himself.
Yeah, and has aspirations of working in the supercars pit lane one day, which is pretty cool. He's got his claws in at Walkinshaw Andretti United, driving the Middies car.
So wait a second, if he's not a successful sim racer, which he probably will be, he's got an option to hopefully work with a supercars team. It's like he's set himself up for success already at 21 years of age.
And he has been so quick so far this year. Reigning champion in the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series, just edged out his teammate last year, Josh Rogers. Josh not returning for the series this year with some date clashes, hampering any double up that Walkinshaw Andretti United would have been hoping for, but they have got the quick man in the field. And he has been perfect so far, 300 points. Now, first of these hot laps, fast part of the racetrack. Ripping back towards Canada Corner, which is all the way back down to second gear. Very easy to overcook it through here.
I'll flip this desk in front of us if he sets a 2-minute 4.
Okay.
I'm being serious.
Because that's take my laptop off just before that happens and my glass of water.
I mean, it's It's just insane. 3 poles in a row, 2 to start the year. We've already got a 2-minute 5.2.
Cooper Webster's just gone 2:05.2. I'm going to hold on to the desk. Gilliam's just gone 2:05.1 for Matt Stone Racing. The quick times are coming. And does Dane Warren break everyone's heart straight away? 2:05.0
Wow.
for Dane, and the desk is safe in the commentary box for now.
2-minute 5.013, 13 thousandths of a second from saving $1,000 worth of damage here in the commentary box.
All right, well, that's the first run done. There's still 4 minutes to go, but it's such a long outlap, so they'll queue him up again. Great job, Jake Burton, as well, for Brad Jones Racing. And he's parked the Dunlop car back on the front row. Remember, he picked up a podium at the opening round at the Red Bull Ring. And Andrew Gilliam, one of his best performances so far for Matt Stone Racing, inside the top 3. Jackson Suzlin-Harlow has been around the podium spots. Who needs to improve on this next lap? Well, looking a bit further down the order. Yet to see Jared Filsell anywhere up there at the moment. He is definitely one of the big guys that we need to see popping in. And if we go NASCAR racing, you've just got to expect that Brad Jones is not too far away.
Hey, he is very quick in anything.
Oh, man, he was excellent around the Thunderdome back in the day,
Yes.
so he'll be getting some serious flashbacks right now.
I remember Macaulay Jones spoke last year in the All-Stars how he was giving him tips on what to do and everything. A great mentor to have.
How good is that? There is the Black Duck seat covers car. And that is Jackson Suzlin-Harlow. So he's gone for the Todd Hazelwood paint scheme tonight. Wait till you see that car in NASCAR Next Gen trim. It looks absolutely spectacular. I cannot wait to see racing around Daytona. We've got James Davison joining the fun tonight, cousin of Will and Alex Davison, which is pretty cool. And he's brought his Rick Rare Racing teammate over as well, which is pretty cool to see. So looking forward to having Garrett Smithley, 29-year-old NASCAR Cup driver. There is James right now. And the Rick Ware guys are only going up in the NASCAR scene. They've recently taken over the operation from Chip Ganassi, so a huge step up for Rick Ware. IndyCar operation as well as NASCAR as well. And cool to see James Davison back on our Supercars screens. Dane Warren doesn't care for drafting buddies. He just goes straight to the front of the queue.
This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Motorsport or E-Series in qualifying. And I saw that 2019 session at Monza. Matter of fact, we watched that session, some of us in the E-Series crew, because it was the day before our actual, I can't remember what it was called, a media day, like a draft media day. So I was there, we went over to the big screens at the casino and ended up having a watch, and we couldn't believe our eyes.
It's going to be on again Sunday night as well. Big weekend of motorsport coming up. And it starts right now on a Wednesday night. The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series.
This is like a qualifying session at Wanneroo.
this is crazy. Dane Warren's parked the field.
This is ridiculous right now.
It's a strange thing to do because it's almost, he doesn't want to be the first car in the queue and give everyone the slipstream. Well, he's already on top. He does, especially guys who he knows are quick, like Jake Burton tucked in behind him. So what he's trying to avoid is giving anyone a free pass down the front straight and down towards turns 3 to turns 4, because that's the fastest part of the racetrack. And the only reason he'd be doing that is to make sure that he's not giving up any slipstream to anyone who thinks that he could maybe topple him off the top of the timing screen.
Now, you might argue that he'll have some dirty air through the corners, so what is the point of gaining the draft on the straights? But ahead of this year's E-Series, the car's downforce on the sim was actually reduced, and that also reduced the dirty air effect by a touch. Well, here we go, though. Final run for the session. Jake Burton is on for a front row start, a career best start potentially in the Dunlop Racing Brad Jones Racing Commodore. Jared Filsell is the big man in trouble. He's not even on our totem pole. He's P23 without a lap time set.
In the top 5 in the championship, driving for Erebus, made that big move across in the boost colours, needs to get a good lap in, Jared Filsell. But it's Jake Burton who we focus our attention on right now. West Aussie made the move in 2020 to call Melbourne home, and a 3-year partnership in the Dunlop colours at Brad Jones Racing. BJ have really thrown their support behind this young guy who has real-world experience, karting titles, as well as a good, strong run in the Toyota 86s on debut as well. Won the Aussie Driver Search contest. One of many drivers in the field to have real-world experience, as well as so much sim time.
And past Garth Tander around
outside
the outside
of turn
at
1.
Phillip Island.
As you'll tell you.
He got to talk to Garth that day, and Garth had some kind words for him when he dropped into the studio last year for the E-Series. Here he is through the carousel portion of Road America. 14 corners around here, 6.5 kilometers, many overtaking spots. Fuel won't be an issue during the race because it's so easy to overtake. Closing stages of SwiftX qualifying. Burton on for a career best front row start, but it's up to everybody else behind. The ever quick Andrew Gilliam, now with Super 3 test experience. How about teammate Susan Harlow, who's impressed this year? Can anyone, though, knock off our championship leader, Dane Warren?
And looking further back in the pack to Jared Filsell. Boost Mobile Colours at Erebus desperately needs to get a lap in. If he doesn't get this lap in now, he will be last for race 3 in the championship, and that will be a very long race from there. He has got the look on right now. Third race team in 3 seasons for him. Walkinshaw Andretti United a couple of years ago had the big 888 seat last year as one is off in the background. And where is this lap for Filsell? Warren on top, no improvement, 2:05.01. Can Filsell jump up the order? Looking for him on the timing. And I'm not seeing his name jump up for now. Yes, he goes to third. That's important. That's really 42 thousandths off the pole as well, no less. That is a clutch lap time from Filsell.
That saved his championship right there, Chad. But well done to Jake Burton, a career best start in the front row. And how about James Scott on the second row? Another career best result as well.
So a couple of personal bests out there. Great to see Andrew Gilliam inside the top 5. Cooper Webster and Team 18 are inside the top 10. Brady Myers back inside the top 10 with DJR in the Shell V-Power colours. That's a nice job from him. But it's this guy once again, and Dane Warren, he just cannot be stopped in SwiftX qualifying trim. And he picks up his 3rd straight pole award, and he'll also go and pocket $140 US worth of iRacing credits, unlock a few new cars and tracks that will be coming. A Hungaroring's coming this week.
Yeah, it is.
So iRacing, you can unlock that.
Oh, it's coming tonight.
Perfect.
I'll be asleep, but I'll try it out in the morning.
Dane Warren can, because he's just got some new funds to go and unlock some new goodies within iRacing. Well done to Dane Warren and Walkinshaw and Andretti United. And how impressive is that? 42 thousandths of a second, covering the top 3 on such a long course at well over 6K. So well done to Dane Warren, picking up another SwiftX pole award. And there was just 1 or 2 little bits of gamesmanship going on those slow outlaps.
Honestly, I don't know, I quite enjoyed that, Chad. Despite all the drama and the antics, it was quite an entertaining qualifying session, and that's why I'm here tonight, for some good fun.
Well, if you thought the slipstream was important then, just wait until you see what's coming up next. We've got NASCAR Next Gen cars with the All-Stars of the Supercars coming up next from Daytona. The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Bosch Tools and Accessories.
Hi, Steve's, thanks.
Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks.
Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Bosch Tools and Accessories. There is no other place you could possibly unleash a full field of NASCARs. It has to be Daytona, the most famous of all stock car racing circuits, and that is where your All-Stars are racing tonight as part of the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. And that is the live look as our drivers get set for a big night of racing. All your favourite supercar stars along for the ride. And who knows what we're going to see.
Well, we'll see plenty of that.
Probably a little bit of this tonight. That was what a full field of beautiful next-gen cars looked like. And unfortunately, we've had the big one in qualifying. SwiftX qualifying, and we're straight into the big one. So hopefully, we're going to shake all that off, do a restart, and get back out there. iRacing is the platform. The NASCAR next-gen car. So remember, we've got Gen 3 coming to Supercars next year. Well, NASCAR have a new car coming as well. We've decided to adopt that nice and early for tonight as Chaz Mostert is working with Todd Hazelwood through turns 3 and 4. And there's going to be a Cash Converters instant cash replay.
Oh, so this was live.
Guys, it's SwiftX qualifying. There's no need for the pile-up.
I thought we just brought that up because it happened in practice or something. That's live.
Yep.
Wow.
That actually happened in qualifying. Has the big one ever happened in qualifying before? As we get a live look at Chaz Mostert. He's backing up the new glasses with his special sim pants tonight, which also double as sleepwear.
They do, and that keyboard apparently is worth 0.3 of a second.
If it lights up, it's quicker.
Yep.
Those official Walkinshaw Andretti United pajamas. We need to get
Are they really?
a yes or no on that, I reckon.
I think they are.
I like it.
Imagine if you went to sleep in his own racing gloves and boots and everything. That'd be comfy for sure. Your racing suit, surely.
So a lot of drivers having to get a instant cash repair and back onto the racetrack as Chaz Mostert works the backstretch. Now, need to be careful with the bump drafting in SwiftX qualifying because you will lose a lap time.
Yeah, we should talk strategy for sure because we're going into an unknown with these cars as well. NASCAR don't even know how these cars will race in the real world because they're next year's version, as Chad alluded to earlier. So in qualifying now, the draft is worth up to about 3 to 4 seconds per lap. And Chaz Mostert here is trying to sweep up as much clean air as possible. Now, the longer the train, the quicker you'll go. But the issue is, Chad, if you have a train of 20, there'll be a lot of checking up, a lot of braking, a lot of off throttle, and it could actually cost you lap time. Therefore, a train like this of 5 or 6 drivers may be your best shot in qualifying.
And I'm hearing official word from our producers who have a direct line to Walkinshaw Andretti United. Those pajamas are not official standard Walkinshaw Andretti United issue. So he's gone rogue, Chaz Mostert. Maybe he's got a new PJs deal going on.
Well, news during the week, we know that Walkinshaw Andretti United are auctioning off Chaz Mostert's race-winning Commodore from Simmons Plains. They could have earned some merchandise money there if they open up a pajama chain of clothing.
I think that it's a bonus. If you buy Chaz's car, you get the PJs as well. As James Davison pulls to the infield, and he has set the quickest time so far. Fitting that we should have a guy who races these cars for real on top at the moment. And look who's slotting in behind him, Richie Stanaway, who has been the man to beat so far this year. 300 points to start him off. And they have been really quick so far tonight.
So James Davison joins the field, but Garrett Smithley, his teammate from the NASCAR Cup Series, also joins the field as well, who's currently in position 16 in qualifying. Now, this is what you don't normally see at Daytona, is an open qualifying session, but we're going to do it here for the fun of it in tonight's action for round 3 of the E-Series. James Davison, as we know, is very quick on the sim, Chad. He competed in NASCAR's own version of our E-Series in a sense and won 2 races there. One around the Chicago street course and one around Road America, which the Pro Series drivers are taking off to in a few minutes' time for their first race.
Quite fitting. So there he is in the 15. He's picked some good company here. He's between Stanaway and Kostecki. Kostecki with 2 SwiftX Pole Awards already this year. And remember, they're fighting for $200 worth of Bitcoin in this session. So prize money up for grabs. And the three quick guys have found each other as Matt Payne celebrates his new deal at Kelly Grove Racing as their new junior driver with a spin through the infield.
So we don't think he's going to take over Andre Heimgartner's seat.
Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe he picks up a year of experience in Super 2. But the young man who's 18 years of age from New Zealand making a trip over the ocean and over towards Australia, which was the dream.
Now these guys are going to be really quick next time by, if not this time by, because they are three quick guys in this championship. For Davison, a wild card tonight. Stanaway at the front of this pack, and Mostert's going to try and tag onto the back of them as well. Hopefully hasn't rolled out of it too much and should just be able to tack on the back of these guys. So 45.66, that was a 45.8 that time for Davison. Next time by is when they'll be quick.
We should mention two of these drivers are two of the three cars in the field with a number on the side of the car. What NASCAR Next Gen are doing are not running a number on the side. And kind of looks cool. The fans would prefer the number, but of course for sponsorship reasons, there's more room to pay the bills.
Yeah, they'll still run the number. The question is, where do they put the number on the door at the moment?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
The rear quarter panel.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance that they will run numbers on them. They'll
won't be as big though, yeah.
Yeah, they're certainly talking. It's an interesting thing though, looking at it with Supercars paint schemes on it to see what it looks like as we get towards the stripe again. Let's see if any of these three guys are going to disrupt the top times. 45.66 to beat. And 45.5. Richie Stanaway goes to the top. Stanaway, Davis, and Kostecki, another three. And I wonder if they'll switch things up now and give each other a chance to lead and chase, because that time through was quick for Stanaway. And that's interesting because he was the first car in the queue, but was the quickest. And is he going to move down and let maybe Kostecki go to the front of this pack as Matt Payne hops onto the back in the Cool Drive colours?
They don't have long to figure themselves out here with 2 minutes remaining in the session. Any contact there will delete the lap time for both drivers.
It's a good chance to practice some bum drafting anyway if the lap time has gone. Mostert with a huge run on the outside. He's bringing Golding with him. So watch for Mostert to jump up. He's 11th at the moment with a 46.0. Can he get into the 45s? 45.99, stays 11th. 90 seconds to go. You may see the big riding down the doors of Richie Stanaway's car. Auckland Unlimited have launched a wildcard tournament which gives New Zealand sim racers the opportunity to represent Team Tamaki Makato Auckland as a wildcard driver for the final round of the All-Stars. So if you want to go and check that out, supercars.com. If you're over in New Zealand and want to represent your country and your city, now's a chance to go and check that out. Be our wildcard racer. And that's a great chance for any Supercars fans over in New Zealand to come and join the fun.
Great initiative by Team Tamaki Makato.
How cool was having Greg Murphy out there last week at Pocono, by the
100%.
way. Kept that car nice and clean. All right, back to the stripe again. Heading change at the top. Golding solidifies his spot inside the top five. Scott Pye again quick tonight. Inside the top five, just like he was at Pocono. Jaden Ojeda with the SwiftX colours now inside the 10. Rougier 7th, Hazelwood 8th, Heimgartner 9th. Zach Best joining the series tonight, Tickford Super 2 driver. He's got the Shannon's Insurance colours, wrapping up the top 10 for now.
Fixed setup tonight. Every driver on an even playing field. All the cars are the same. The setup is the same as well between the Mustang and the Camaro, because it is NASCAR Next Gen, not running the Commodore. They never run the Commodore anyway, but you get what I mean. Another incident that will end the session there for both Jack LeBrock and the yellow cover car of Jake Kostecki, who returns this round in place of Zane Goddard. And Cam Waters has ended his session as well into the grass.
I get the feeling he was trying to maybe get the back of Tom Randall. That's a hell of a save if he can catch it. My gosh.
I don't
no,
think
now he goes and takes Golding with him.
I think he's preparing for his speedway antics in the summer.
I saw that. He's got the new sprint cars lined up for summer, which is pretty cool. So not seeing too much change at the top. Stanaway about to break the streak of Brody Kostecki, it would seem. Oops. And that was, I think that actually may have been our wild card spinning in the background. The 51 of Garrett Smithley. So Smithley's going to have some work to do down in 17th. Couldn't quite find the fast cars to hop in that pack. Heimgartner works the back of Hazelwood. And they're going to practice their pit entries. That will be a really telling point in the race tonight. Speeding on pit road will cost you any chance of a victory. Or at least you'll have some work to do on the restart off the back of the pack. Hazelwood stays 11th. Heimgartner 12th. Big news for Andre Heimgartner on the move for season 2022. Looking forward to seeing where he washes up. If we see any news about that in the next few weeks. And Macaulay Jones having a really good run. He popped up late inside the top 5. So great effort, Macaulay Jones. We saw Brad Jones in that sim earlier. And Bradley was pretty good on the high banks at the Thunderdome back in the day. So the apple hasn't fallen far, it would seem. Nice job, Macaulay Jones, inside the top 5. I'd love to see him run in the top 5 tonight, Jonathan. But it's this guy, Richie Stanaway, who has picked up his first SwiftX Pole Award of the year. Nicely done, Richie. And he does it with a 45.56. And that's tight.
Well, Macaulay Jones actually qualified 3rd last week, so 5th this week. You must be getting used to the ovals right now. Brad is doing a great job teaching Macaulay his way around the ovals, such as Daytona. There's your top 10. Hazelwood just outside. Very impressed, though, by Tony D'Alberto to climb outside the top 20. He's been struggling on the sim, but getting better week to week for Logitech G Racing.
23 car field. Jake Kostecki will be at the back tonight for Matt Stone Racing. And your SwiftX pole position winner, round 3, the next gen cars, Richie Stanaway. And he did it with a 3-car breakaway with James Davison, who is NASCAR Cup driver, joining the fun tonight. And Brody Kostecki, whose streak comes to an end. Brody 3rd, James Davison 2nd. So those 3 on that lap went 1, 2, 3 in the time. And that is very well done. Congratulations to the folks involved with this Boost Mobile and wildcard operation. And Team Tamaki Makoto have picked up another huge milestone for them, and that is their first pole award. Really looking forward to this one. Road America and then Daytona tonight.
It's, as I said before, it's a smorgasbord amount of races. It's great. We've got a whole collection of everything. Road courses, ovals, best of the best from the gamers, our all-stars. We love it.
All right, we've got 2 NASCAR drivers joining the fun. Really looking forward to this one. We'll take you to Sydney. Neil Crompton standing by. Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is switching it up. We've done supercars on famous American circuits.
And he's gone 2 and Stanaway takes the lead.
Now, we're using their cars too. Tonight, the Supercars All-Stars tackle Daytona in NASCARs. See the good old Aussie boys at the spiritual home of stock car racing. Whilst in the Pro Series, can anyone catch Dane Warren at Road America? It's guaranteed to be another sensational sprint stateside. This is the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series.
Hi everybody, welcome once again to the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series Great to have your company for this evening, and welcome to the world of virtual supercar racing. And while too many of us are locked up all around the country with COVID-19 issues, this is the perfect way to exercise our motor racing passion. Good news, we've reached the halfway mark of our 6-round series, round number 3 for this evening, and the past couple of weeks, well, been carbon copies. In fact, for Richie Stanaway, what a fantastic couple of performances in the Boost Mobile Entry, 2 victories. And for the pro gamers, Dane Warren has absolutely brained them for Walkinshaw Andretti United and Mobile One and Middies Racing. So, tonight on the agenda, it's an all-USA adventure once again, and we are going to go to a couple of very special locations. First up for the Pro Series, race number 3, Road America, one of my favourites, Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin, right next to one of the Great Lakes. It is a beautiful racetrack, a classic racetrack. And then we jump across down to Florida, the centre and the hub of NASCAR racing, and we're off to Daytona with a twist. As you heard Chad say at the top of the program, you'll see all of your favourite supercar stars in NASCARs. Not only driving a NASCAR, but a Gen 3 NASCAR. The NASCAR teams have been practicing and testing, getting ready for a big debut in 2022. And boy, have we got some cool liveries to share and show you here, because a bunch of the boys, look at them, how good's this? Chaz Mostert's car, Appliances Online, Mobile One, that's what it's going to look like. These cars sound fantastic. Just listening to them a few moments ago in qualifying, 9,000 revs, they look cool. Macca Jones, Macaulay Jones in the Coca-Cola entry, Scott Pye with the DeWalt entry, he drives for Charlie Schwerkolt in Team 18. So we have got another outstanding lineup, a couple of big races. There's all the gang. Have a look at that mega wall, and tucked in the middle there somewhere is an old mate, and it's great to catch up with him once again. Our Shaw live chat this evening. James Davison, nice to see you, my friend. It's been a little while. In fact, the last time it was driving an 86, a Toyota 86, at Mount Panorama Bathurst, and boy, you've covered some ground since then.
Yeah, I found myself driving in the NASCAR Cup Series just as a result of the COVID outbreak, and yeah, it's been incredible to be driving in that major league in addition to IndyCar. And yeah, really loving it. Driving for a very small team, so expectations are definitely limited. But I'm getting a start, and never did I think I'd actually be driving in the Cup Series when we were all kids watching Days of Thunder.
It's very cool, mate. So you touched on IndyCar. You've had some Indy 500 starts, which is absolutely mega. You've done some sports car stuff. You had a little dabble with supercars there for a while as well, and now just pushing your way through into NASCAR. So what's the expectation there? Are you going to stay committed to that, James, or are you still hoping to do something here? What's the plan?
No, NASCAR's my focus, and with this next-gen car coming, as they're saying they're looking to put the stock back in stock car racing and having parity, hopefully like supercars or IndyCar. So by the time this season's done, I'll have done 40 Cup races in the last 18 months, and I'd like to put that experience to use and try and just kind of move my way up there. It's tough these days. The landscape's changed a lot since Marcus Ambrose was over here. It's very much a money game, but as ever, you got to be in it to win it. And yeah, very fortunate and absolutely loving it. Making many friends up there in Mooresville. All the Cup boys are great guys. Obviously, they're the world of outlaws. It's a unique series, and I love it for everything that it is.
It's a great culture, isn't it? And the fact that you do so much racing and you're immersed in everything to do with racing for so much of the year is very cool. Quick question, you keep up with your cousins? Are you up to speed with what Will and Alex are up to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nowadays with Instagram and Twitter, it's so much easier to keep in touch. Obviously, Wi-Fi calls to the family. And yeah, Alex, Will and I have become very close in our adulthood. We love to see each other do well, support each other. We've always thought about trying to do, let's say, the Bathurst 12-hour together, the Enduros in the Supercar Series. Yeah, we have a very good relationship, and yeah, great to see Will having a very good year, and hopefully Alex will be driving with him at Bathurst.
Awesome to catch up and have a great run tonight. We didn't get much time to talk about all the virtual activity that's about to unfold. Based on what I saw earlier, I reckon it's going to be pretty wild, but all the best, James.
Thanks, Neil.
James Davison, and he'll be one of our runners for this evening. So we're going to go across now to Jonathan and to Chad. The big question for me, boys, is can anybody break the nexus of what we've seen in the last couple of weeks? Because we've had carbon copies, as I said before. Good evening and welcome.
G'day, Crompo. Very cool to be a part of the coverage again for round 3. And yeah, Road America, one of the coolest tracks anywhere across the world, let alone what you'd find in the United States as well. So really looking forward to watching the pro guys tackle that circuit. Dane Warren has been the man to beat. Your Cash Converters point score, it's a perfect 300. 2 from 2. Jared Filsell, right behind him, needs to try and get some points back tonight, Jonathan.
And there's only 6 rounds like we know, so he could run away with the championship, but he could also bottle it here in this round without scoring 150 points. He will drop a lot of places down the order, as we see.
Dane Warren with just 2 laps to go. It was a very tight qualifying session. There were some games that were playing out, and the SwiftX Pole Award once again back in the back pocket of Walkinshaw Andretti United. Nicely done. He picks up $140 worth of iRacing credits, and there's some pretty cool new things coming out. There's a new Porsche coming out on iRacing. There's the Hungaroring coming out soon, so he's going to be able to go out and purchase those in-game with his new credit that he's gone and earned today. Well done to Dane Warren. That's 3 straight pole awards thanks to SwiftX. And at the moment, he is definitely the man to beat. He'll be starting on the front row once again. So we've been talking about it. Elkhart Lake, a famous circuit that opened up back in the 50s. It's been the home of IndyCar. NASCAR has also joined the ranks there so far this year. And we're going to dive in on our next level racing track preview. Jonathan is going to talk us through this very technical, undulating, hilly, wild circuit. Beautiful circuit as well.
It is everything. America's national park of speed is Road America. Here's turn number 1, 275 kilometers an hour, fastest point of the circuit, highest point of the circuit as well. There's 52 meters of elevation change around this venue, and you've just caught a glimpse of some of the elevation there on the exit of 1. This next right-hander is very critical onto the long back straight here at Road America. It's very, very long. And fun fact for you, I talked to you about this earlier, Chad, is that this circuit has its own official sausage. It's called the Johnsonville sausage. Believe it or not, it's very munchy, very delicious. Let's grab a bite of the braking zone here, though, into turn 5, the Moraine Sweep. Easy to run deep, easy to collect some cars and get it wrong. Turn 6, roller coaster your way through the next section. You don't actually see the apex, look here, until you arrive. That's what makes that corner so, so difficult. Turn 7, lift of the gas with the right foot, back on with the same foot as well. Here we head to the hurry downs, and then turn 8, another downhill braking zone. Now the next corner is called the Carousel, but I kid you not, this circuit is not a theme park, despite all the corner names. And just so patient through here. Look how patient you have to be. Just take your time, don't rush. Back on the throttle with the right foot one more time. Let's listen through the kink. 200 kilometers an hour, no brake. How brilliant is that? We've seen so many accidents there over the years, which makes that corner more and more difficult. Into Canada corner, named after the Canadian branded litter that was dumped here in the opening years of this circuit back in the 1950s. Through Thunder Valley, and then Bill Mitchell Bend, named after the very famous General Motors car designer. Influenced over 72 million cars for General Motors. Final corner, straight line the braking zone, apply the power early, critical run onto the long Road America straight. There's the difficult pit entry to the right. We're going to continue for another lap around Road America.
Nicely done, Jonathan. Elkhart Lake, famous circuit's been hosting IndyCar since the 80s, and tonight for the first time it's going to host the Supercars E-Series, just like it hosted NASCAR for the first time this year as well. Crompo Chase Elliott got the win back in June. Looking forward to seeing how it races with Supercars.
It is an awesome track, but I did not know there was an official sausage. So that was a very important update. Thanks for that, boys. I've been on the inside down there at the kink and the carousel and watched IndyCars go through there. Absolutely magnificent. We can look forward to that in just a tick when we see Supercars on the other side of the break. And as we take you to the break, there's an opportunity, thanks to our friends at Shannon's. Here's a fantastic way to win some awesome prizes.
Our friends at Shannon's are giving motoring enthusiasts the chance to win 2 automotive icons, a 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am and a new Chief Dark Horse Indian motorcycle. The prize also includes up to 12 months Shannon's comprehensive car and bike insurance and Shannon's roadside assist, plus $5,000 cash. That's up to $110,000 in prizes. To enter, go online or call Shannon's on 13 46 46 and obtain an eligible quote on your car, bike or home insurance. The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Shaw. Sound extraordinary on and off the track.
Hi, it's these, thanks. Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks.
Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Pioneer DJ. Born to perform, pioneers of excellence.
This is the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. Welcome back. Buckle up, sit down, get yourself all ready. We've got two very big races for this evening. A little bit later, you'll see your Supercars All-Stars at Daytona. Right now, we're going to make the transition across to Elkhart Lake. And boys, I can one-up the sausage story, because what you need to do is to be down at Canada Corner and smell that hickory barbecue smell down there, because it's awesome. And not very far away from that corner, there's a little bar called Siebken's. It's famous, and it's got signatures and memorabilia and all sorts of other rubbish that all race fans have got to see and love. Beat that with your sausage yarn.
We dug up those cool old photos of Crompo at Long Beach. Crompo, I want to see some photos of you at Elkhart Lake now.
I'll see what I can do. No.
Dig them out. Coming in the book, hopefully, as well. Crompo is having a book out soon. Looking forward to this one. We're going to go racing tonight at Elkhart Lake, better known to the world as Road America. Let's dive into our Shannon's Insurance race facts, because this is going to be a big race for the championship if Dane Warren can go 3 in a row.
Yep, certainly. 10 laps of action coming up, 22 minutes if we go time certain. Now look at the fuel. This will not be an issue in comparison to Long Beach last week. One compulsory pit stop, though, will be required, where you need to take 4 tyres at your stop. What a lovely circuit is Road America, America's national park of speed, 6.5 kilometres. Take note of the hot spots through turns 5 and 12. They can cause a lot of accidents, both downhill braking zones. Turn 12, the lowest point of the circuit, of 52 metres of elevation change. It's a very, very long circuit, is Road America, and that means undercutting is going to be very difficult because you don't have long to react. It's over a 2-minute lap. That predicted pit window will lie between laps 3 and 7.
All right, thank you very much, Jonathan. Cool circuit hasn't changed much at all since it first opened up in the 50s. Once started originally as a street circuit running around the Elkhart Lake region. And our cross starting grid's going to show you how the pros are going to be lining up. And for the third straight week, it's Dane Warren on the front row. Jake Burton finally gets his Brad Jones Racing Dunlop car on the front row. Well done, Jake. Jared Filsell, he was last until that last lap, and then he went flying up the order. BP Ultimate inside the top 2 rows as well. First time for James Scott. And that is the yellow cover car of Andrew Gilliam. Jackson Suzlin Harlow makes the switch to the black duck seat covers livery. Cooper Webster and Team 18 are back up inside the top 10. Brady Myers, nice qualifying in the Shell V-Power colours. Blake Purdy and the Shannon's Insurance car will be inside the top 10 alongside Richard Hampstead in the Boost Mobile Tickford colours. Another Tickford car behind him and Ethan Warren. He'll be lining up alongside Corey Shepherd in a little bit up and down in qualifying trim. The youngest guy in the field. Now Ryan Woods at Team Sydney. Josh Anderson's lost his spotter. The Cool Drive Auto Parts spotter has found his way onto the grid. We'll highlight him in a moment. Jordan Caruso back in the Repco colours alongside the Repco 24/7 driver of Madison Down. Haven't seen too much of him so far this year. Emily Jones had a steering wheel malfunction which led to gear change issues in qualifying, I've been told. Forza Arby will be starting 18th. Ethan Grigg-Gould in the Logitech colours. Job Stewart goes to the famous Petters livery that won the Celebrity E-Race in the hands of Scott Petter last year. Wayne Burke and Simon Feigl will be starting in row 11. And we do have a change of driver in the SwiftX car. Kurt Stenberg, who was spotter for Josh Anderson, is filling in for Sam Blacklock in that beautiful SwiftX blue livery. That is your crust starting grid, and that is the man on the pole. Now, there has been a slight change to the clutch settings with these cars for getting the cars off the start line, especially given the fact that there's a fairly big hill. I wonder if that's going to affect some of these cars getting off the start line today. Is that a wild card for Jake Burton to lead the field down towards turn 1 as we go racing with a wave of the green flag from Barney the Flagman? And yes, we have seen these new starting procedures take effect, and it's a slow start for Dane Warren. Can the field jump him down towards turn 1? Filsell surges to the front, but Warren just prevails, and there goes Scott wide and potentially off the road at turn 1, and all his good work in qualifying is undone. He goes to the back of the pack, and Dane Warren, with scrapes on the side of his car for the first time this year, is under heavy fire from the Erebus driver.
Round 2 of this battle between Filsell and Warren. This is a critical pass for Filsell in the championship. 1 versus 2 on the racetrack, 1 versus 2 in the standings. Burton decides to help Warren on the inside potentially.
He had such a run then. There was a chance potentially for 3 wide. Walkinshaw versus on the outside Erebus versus Brad Jones Racing. And you're on board right now with the Dunlop driver. Back to second gear over that little crest. Very easy to lock the rear tyres. So technical, this circuit. And already they're jumping on the race leader.
Filsell still looking to make a move. It's half the lap and they still haven't argued the position for P1.
That is the closest anyone has come to taking the lead away from Dane Warren all season long. Through the carousel, long right-hander. Need some patience from here.
And Madison Down, who qualified down the order, only up 1 position. Another driver who should be up there for the championship struggling. How about Jordan Caruso, though? Up 5 spots into P10.
Poor James Scott. Qualified second row. Threw it off the road down at turn 1. Goes to the back of the pack. Like Corey Shepherd putting a move on in the background. And that's to the inside of Blake Purdy. As we round the end of lap 1. It's been a great start to Dane Warren once again, but he's carrying some battle scars for the first time this season.
Look at the gap, though, between he and Filsell. It's creeping down along the straight. This is a very easy circuit to overtake at. Fuel not an issue. It's all about tyre strategy. Battles down the back of the pack here. Team 18 car of Cooper Webster and Brady Myers starting to argue. How about Jackson Suzlin Harlow and the Black Duck seat covers Commodore?
Yeah, cool scrap, this one. New colours for Suzlin Harlow tonight. He's been running inside the top 5 in the opening 2 rounds. There was nothing separating those top 3 cars in qualifying, less than 1/10 of a second. That's why it's so close on the road right now.
All Jared Filsell needs to do is stay within ½ a second of Dane Warren. And then by lap 3 or 4, he can go for the undercut. Look how close he is here at the end of the straight. The draft is going to keep a lot of these drivers honest.
Purdy to the inside, makes that move stick on Corey Shepherd, gives him just enough room at the exit. Jordan Caruso is going to run with him as well. And that's tight between Purdy and Shepherd. A couple of teenagers, 16 and 17 years of age. They swap spots. Nicely done. Good clean driving.
Oh, in the background, is that the Logitech G racing car of Greg Galt, the birthday boy, celebrates his 26th here today. And he was all over the grass. And not a very happy birthday for him so far in the opening 2 laps. Right, we'll keep note of the race.
So pit stops. Corey Shepherd back into pit lane for the first time, and are we going to see potentially some undercuts?
Now, I did see Phil Sell on the timing screen. He was up into P1 for a moment, so I'm not sure if that was a timing glitch or if he was... Actually, here are the pictures of it. He's right up close there for P2. You couldn't even see him. He was that deeply tucked in to the middies car of Dane Warren. Battle for the lead. Burton's also on the attack too. Gilliam's keeping him honest as well in the background. 4-horse race for the win and potentially victory later today for round 3. This is important for Phil Sell. Stick it up the inside, mate. He goes for it, and they're still alongside each other on the exit.
Can't quite draw level, and that is again as close as we've seen to Warren losing the lead for the first time this year. And how cool to see Matt Stone Racing running at the front of this field as well. The pressure is heaping on Dane Warren, and for the first time it looks like potentially he doesn't have the fastest car in the field. And I wonder, with the damage down the left-hand side of that car, was potentially there some bent steering as well.
And that happened on the opening lap, so they must have collided on the run to turn 1, because remember, he had that damage through the apex of turn 1. So that's very bizarre to see damage that early on in the race. If you're Jared Philsell here, you've got to do the opposite to Dane Warren, or do you stay within the draft? This is critical. Philsell was talking to me about how the team at Erebus has done a lot of work with strategy. They provide him with strategy documents each week outlining what all his rivals do in the championship, when they pit, at what percentage of the race as well. They get up to a lot of work, and this is where they'll earn their money.
This would be a really brave call to pit this early to get to the inside and try and make that undercut work on lap 3. Be a long way home. Does anyone go to the right-hand side? Yes, Matt Stone Racing will roll the dice with Andrew Gilliam now. So that'll be the battle next time by. Be cool to see Andrew potentially score himself a podium today. Back on board. And this is Jake Burton running all the way down towards turn 1.
Has picked up a career victory before, Jake Burton, only one of them.
Philsell looks to the inside. They both lock up the left front. Burton gets into the back of the boost car, and for the second time tonight, they run side by side up the hill.
Yeah, Philsell's going to have to do something different. It's such a short race, only 10 laps, 22 minutes. He's got to try something different now. I think he's really shown his hand, played all of his moves so far. Has he got anything left in his pocket that he hasn't revealed so far? Burton is certainly analysing the both of them up ahead. This is what the draft does for you. For Dane Warren, this acts essentially as an oval, does Road America. It's that easy to slipstream around here. Despite all the changes to this car over the past 12 months, it's still produces some great racing at some very good select racetracks.
This has been the best race at the front of the field so far this year, and the closest they've been to the back of Dane Warren. And again, a huge run down towards Canada corner, but not close enough.
Again here, this is where Dane Warren acts tricky. He swings to the right, as you can see, at the end of the main straight, or at the beginning of the main straight. And so does that trick Phil Sell into thinking he's pitting or continuing? We'll take a look at it on the exit now. Phil Sell 4 tenths behind. This is right on the margin where you do the opposite. Right there, good decision by Phil Sell to do the opposite to Warren. Warren dives in. Phil Sell will have to put in one absolute smacker of an in-lap to beat Dane Warren on his very own outlap.
Andrew Gillian would have been hoping for a little bit more of a fight on that in-lap. As we go back to the guys who have already pitted.
Brady Myers has been so impressive this season. Still in fourth, he hasn't pitted, but...
Sorry, yeah, these guys are yet to stop.
Yeah. But Brady Myers has had the most improved season for sure. It's his best of the 3, I reckon, in his total experience in the E-Series.
Progresses. He was 4th before the pit stop started. Where does he wash out into this pack? Great run for Brady Myers so far tonight as well, to be running with the front guys.
Gilliam so far, as you can see, he's behind Burton and Dane Warren.
So Warren has held on in front of Burton and Gilliam for now, but this is the clutch lap, isn't it? Here's that battle pack that we were talking about. So no change really in these positions for now. The question will be, can Phil Sell go one extra lap on his set of virtual Dunlop tyres and still hang on to the lead of this race, or potentially get the lead of the race from Dane Warren? That'll be the critical moment next time by.
The trouble for these drivers and Phil Sell, who will rejoin the racetrack as Warren had a lost your traction moment at the exit of turn 5, is that Phil Sell will be rejoining the racetrack from the pit speed limit of 72 kilometers an hour. They'll all be screaming towards turn 1 at over 270 kilometers an hour, and it's a very accident-prone portion of the racetrack. We've seen so many accidents over the years there. I saw a bizarre one around 10 years ago in a sports car series where the car actually flew over the catch fencing, and luckily there were no spectators who were involved in that one.
So this time by the Boost Mobile car. He's in a spot now. Do you give up the fact that you've already lost the undercut? No, he will come in this time by, and he'll bring Cooper Webster with him. And Brady Myers as well, as Jackson Suzlin Harlow goes one extra. And is that going to be speeding on pit road for Brady Myers? It'll be close, really close. And if we remember, if you're caught speeding on the way in, you can serve time penalty in that pit stop. So if we see the Shell car have a longer pit stop here, we'll know that yes, it was a potential speeding in pit lane. As we ride on board with Dane Warren, coming up towards the last couple of corners right now. The fight for the lead is on. The rejoin should be exciting.
About 36.1 seconds is the time lost with a pit stop. Does Dane Warren have him covered? We'll find out in a few moments' time at the other end of these pictures.
Dropped and away, and Cooper Webster gets the jump, potentially, not quite, on Phil Sell, and Warren goes blazing by them. Massive undercut by pitting on that lap earlier, and he takes Burton with him. So Burton now jumps Phil Sell through the pit stop scenario. Webster does, yes, clear the front of the Boost Mobile car. So quick pit stop for Team 18, and out ahead of Erebus. And Phil Sell, who was looking at the back of the race leader, somehow finds himself 5th in the queue.
That's incredible there. Phil Sell, every round, every race for 3 years now, Chad, seems to always have the slowest pit stops. Obviously, it's got nothing to do with the real-world crews at Erebus or his previous teams. He's now alongside Webster trying to reclaim that position. The 18-year-old Webster will not bow down to the experienced Phil Sell. Now, were they actually inside of each other there for a moment? That looked quite bizarre for a moment.
Car inside. He's literally inside the cabin. And the Boost Mobile car makes that one stick. Couldn't quite get that pass done on Dane Warren. And that must have been close for Brady Myers, because it didn't seem to be serving any penalty that time by. So nice work. And how about that? 9.2 seconds. Quickest pit stop in the front pack. Dane Warren got a fast pit stop when he needed it.
That is, well, what can I say?
Exactly what he needed when he needed it.
Wow.
9.2 seconds. Compare that to Phil Sell's 10.2, so a whole second quicker, and that is the difference on the road right now as Phil Sell drops the left-hand side tyres on the grass.
But the race isn't over because Jake Burton is only 4 tenths behind Dane Warren. The race is far from over. It's all about the draft. As we said, Jared Filsell has the freshest rubber now, who's leading the pack. He's 2 laps fresher than Gilliam. And Warren and Burton have 1 lap older tyres than him as well.
And Jackson Suzlin-Harlow in the pits right now, which means Hampstead going the longest for Tickford in his Boost mobile car. So where does Jackson Suzlin-Harlow wash out at the end of his pit stop? Can he get a 9-second stop? 8 seconds, 9 seconds, 10 seconds, 10.3 for the Black Duck seat covers Brad Jones Racing Commodore. And he'll be right with these front guys as well. Went 2 extra laps longer. He'll have fresher tyres, but loses quite a bit of track position. He was inside the top 3 or 4 spots just before those pit stops started.
You might only think 7 of 10 on the lap counter, but it's a very long lap, like we said, over 2 minutes long. So there's about 6 to 8 minutes left of racing action, which means Jackson Suzlin-Harlow is on the advantage here for the rest of this event. A lot of position changes through that pit phase, notably for Jared Filsell. But Jake Burton, this will be incredible. He's only 2 tenths behind Dane Warren for race victory. Filsell trying to make a move on Gilliam for the final spot on the podium. He's going to go for it up the inside.
The Matt Stone driver giving him plenty of room, and Filsell making these moves count late in the race. Sure, just about clears him at the exit, they rub. Webster buys into it with Myers, and Webster sideways. Gathers it back up, but this will bring, surely, yes, Suzlin-Harlow into the fight. And this is cool. So Webster with the big slide, losing 1 or 2 spots through the middle sector. Hampstead yet to pit. Warren, that's Dane Warren. Jake Burton, Jared Filsell, the top 3. All 3 drivers have been on the podium so far this year and continuing their form tonight.
What a race so far. Jake Burton, as we said, picked up a career victory, but that was in a reverse grid race back in 2019 at Watkins Glen. This will be an even more important victory for him to claim one in a non-reverse grid event where everybody's on an even playing field, and to claim one from Dane Warren, but he hasn't done it yet. He's got fresher rubber. Oh no, excuse me, sorry. He's on the same set of rubber as Dane Warren, but he's got the draft, I meant to say. He's only about half a second behind. This is critical for Dane Warren at the front of the pack if he can break the draft. Critical for these guys as well to battle for important championship points. Only 6 rounds of action for the E-Series. Every point counts.
Jackson Suzlin-Harlow with a great run out of the last corner. Remember, he's got the freshest tyres in this lead pack. He's got a huge run on the back of Gilliam, but there's no room down the inside. Gilliam parking that car on the right-hand side. Myers goes to the outside. That would be a bold move. And Webster now springs back into this fight after his slip on the last lap. Cool scrap for these last few spots inside the top 5.
I'm not sure that it's a big setup, but Cooper Webster's car looks like it's got no rear-end roll bar or something. It's all over the place. As he's struggling to keep it stable. Moves to Team 18 this year from Seiko 5 Racing last year, and now to the outside of the 12 of Jordan Caruso for Repco Racing. Oh, this is a huge battle pack down the middle end of the order.
This is getting a little feisty. 2.5 laps to go. You get the feeling this could end in tears the way they're leaning on each other. Up towards turn 6. Turn 7, roll off the throttle, 3rd gear. Downhill approach to the bottom of turn 8, all the way back down to 2nd gear. Need to make sure you don't lock the inside left front when you turn in. The run up towards Carousel, big long right-hander, turns 9 and 10, working between 3rd and 4th gear. And the pressure is on the back of Andrew Gilliam, relegated back down to 6th. And with Suzlin-Harlow now with fresh tyres, a chance to potentially try and chase down Jared Filsell for that last spot on the podium.
Still yet to see Richard Hampstead hit. Very odd strategy. Oh, goodness gracious. That was Andrew Gilliam. Oh, boy, we've seen a lot of accidents there over the years. Catherine Legg was one of them in 06. Now Cooper Webster to the inside of Gilliam.
Aggressive at Canada corner. Gives him plenty of room at the exit and makes it count. Not quite. Gilliam back ahead. And look at the cars queuing up behind him. Jordan Caruso on the Repco car. Blake Purdy in the Shannon's car. Blake having one of his best runs inside the top 10. That'll be a cash converter's instant cash moment. Oh, man. This was oh so close.
That's at 200 kilometers per hour into the grass. Whether it's the sim, whether it's the real thing, It's a real big, scary moment. As Richard Hampstead's continued again, he hasn't entered the lane. So he'll have to come this time by because under the rule set and the Supercars regulations, you cannot complete that one compulsory pit stop on the final lap.
So he'll have to pit this time by, and how far back down the order will he drop? He's likely to go back into that really big battle pack. It'll actually be helping him that these guys are having such a frantic fight, because while he's in clean air, they're wasting time in that awesome scrap that we've been enjoying. And the fight for the lead is back on. And Burton now on the back of the Walkinshaw Andretti United driver. And he is an aggressive driver, and if he gets half a chance, he will have a go.
Credit to Tickford Racing and Richard Hampstead trying something different. I don't think it's going to work just based on the tyre life, but if you look at his lap times anyway, he is lapping quicker than the mid-pack.
That's because they're fighting.
Yep, and so maybe I take that back. A very, very smart strategy by Tickford Racing to keep the Boost Mobile racing car out there on the racetrack. Harvey Norman numbers tell us the story through the carousel for Burton. So much retardation going through the left side tyres here. It's trying to stop you while you're trying to accelerate. And then through into the kink. Look at the speed through the kink. I talked about 200 kilometers an hour into the draft. Burton on the tarmac reaches 210. Incredible stuff.
He's only had one career win in the Supercars E-Series. Into his third season, he and Dane Warren have been a part of it since the beginning. He is closing on the back of that Walkinshaw Andretti United car. Dane is really quick through that part of the track though, and able to just eke out a little bit of a gap once again over the Dunlop racing car. Further back into this pack now. And James Scott in the BP Ultimate car, who was last on lap 1 after rolling it off the road. He's been fighting his way back through the pack. He sits 17th behind Falls and El Nabi. Corey Shepherd. And Wayne Burke having a good run for Kelly Grove Racing in the Handwright colours. And we have started the last lap of the race. Hampstead has made his stop. Where will he come out? 10.2 seconds. He comes out into that back of really strong drivers. Wow. 10th, 11th, there he is at the inside of turn 1. He'll have extremely fresh rubber on this last lap once they come up to temperature. Quite enough time to make the most of it.
Not a bad strategy. Very good stuff by Tickford to keep him out there. But if he only had a few more laps to just make some moves here, he'll try and do that. Job Stewart up ahead is up 10 positions, just for your info, in this race. Cracking stuff by the other Erebus car in this field. For Dane Warren, though, still 3/10 the gap between he and Burton as this scrap continues between Corey Shepherd, who's down in 15th, and, of course, Forzen Al Nabi. And you've got James Scott in the BP car. James Scott, by the way, down 13 spots. Remember, he had his career best qualifying performance. Has been nowhere in the race and is nowhere there on the exit of turn 5.
And that's left a big dent on the side of the BP Ultimate Ford Mustang. Back to the lead pack, and Phil Sellers closed on the back of Jake Burton. So the gap at the front of the field, half a second. And Phil Sell in the Erebus car has been chasing these guys down.
You might as well launch it into Canada Corner. It's your last opportunity, unless you want to go for a run on the main straight and a drag race for second position. I think Dane Warren's got it in the bag so far.
The run home to the checkered flag. Last few corners for Dane Warren. Phil Sell putting the pressure on Jake Burton. Burton on for his second podium of the year. Phil Sell, his second podium of the year as well.
Fantastic. Well done, Dane Warren. He's made it 3 from 3. The boys have got some audio issues down there in Melbourne, so just jumping in to cover Chad and Jonathan. So a gratifying performance, a great performance again from Dane. He has been on fire for Walkinshaw Andretti United and the Mobile One Middies Racing entry. That boy knows how to drive these things. He's done a beautiful job once again. So he's got home with a reasonable margin over Jake Burton. It wasn't as big a margin as was seen in the first couple of rounds, and then Jared Philsell in third position. So nice job. So Dane continues to open up the margin now in terms of the points. and he's virtually smoking those rear tyres. Thanks to iRacing. So here's the confirmation of the results. Cash Converters Supercars E-Series and race number 3 of the series. Dane Warren, Jack Burton and then Jared Filsell, and you can see the margin was just under 1 second, and then a pretty hefty margin all the way back through the next group of 10 cars. We're going to see all of those drivers back in action again next week. Remember, this is round 3 of 6 in our Supercars E-Series, and we are going to see our Supercars All-Stars in the not too distant future, because we're going to jump across to Daytona, down to Florida, and have a look at all the action with the new gen NASCARs down there. So listen, Chad, you asked, I do have to deliver, so I've dug out of the Dropbox on the phone dodgy photo album photos of Elkhart Lake circa 1997. Siebken's famous sandwiches, awesome bar. If you're a motorsport fan, eventually when borders open up and you can go there, then go there. Denny Holm, the late Denny Holm, used to tell great stories about the times there with Can-Am and Formula 5000 and various other things, and that is just a Diet Coke, by the way, that I've got there. That's Guy Hobbs on the left, son of David Hobbs, who raced here at Bathurst and was a legendary Formula 5000 driver. The bloke trying to strangle me is Jorge Kecklin, a Peruvian who also drove British Formula 1 and in IndyCar and did the Latin America call for ESPN. And the other bloke was Tim Mayer, and his dad, Ted Mayer, ran Penske and McLaren F1. And his uncle, who has the same name, lost his life down at Longford. So there you go, Neil's Crook photo album, unsponsored segment of the program. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to catch up with a couple of friends. Andre Heimgartner, a bit to talk about there with him, Kelly Grove Racing, and Sam Brabham, wildcard runner tonight. We saw him at Bathurst earlier in the year. Stay with us, I beg your pardon. The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. Hang in there.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Cash Converters, making more of the things you want possible.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
Our high-performance race team needs a high-performance technology partner.
At Red Bull Ampol Racing, we rely on HP computers to power our on-track winning performance.
The Supercars Championship ignites at Bathurst.
The HP product range keeps us on top from design to drive. Red Bull Ampol Racing, powered by HP and available right now at Harvey Norman.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Cash Converters, making more of the things you want possible.
What will the OTR Super Sprint deliver for us today? And look how they just gently ease them off the line. Mostert's done the best job. It was a battle for Heimgartner to get that thing mobile. Oh, Mostert ran wide, and he's relinquished the lead as a result of it. So Chaz got in strife across the water there, and Heimgartner will get down the inside. And now, in fact, we've got a moment up the front, and Anton's gone wide down there as well, and he's dropped a bunch of places in that process.
Slightly 1 second for the car behind.
But it's a final corner run now for Andre Heimgartner. He squares it up coming out of the final corner, and it is a first-time victory now for Andre Heimgartner, his first supercar win.
Awesome. Good luck, guys. Finally.
Fantastic moment there for Andre Heimgartner in the Kelly Grove Racing Ned Whiskey Mustang back at Tailem Bend earlier this year. A breakthrough victory for a young driver who's worked very hard through his junior career, worked his way solidly into supercar competition, and this year picking up major points and that first big win. I'm very pleased to say that he's on the line. Looking forward to having a chat with him. He's been making news in the last 24 hours. It's good evening and welcome, Andre. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks. Good to be here and looking forward to tonight's racing.
I've got to say that was a beautiful drive back at Tailem Bend earlier in the year, and you and I talked about it, and we had a little text exchange as well, and everything just worked out so nicely, and it was just reward for a huge amount of work in the backstory for you.
Yeah, for sure. It'd been a long time coming, a lot of work. Todd, whole team, myself have put into it. So to get one, it's sort of good. Got the first one for Kelly Grove Racing as well, and leaving the team at the end of the year. So good, I was at least able to win a race with them before I went and moved on to other things.
12th in the championship and very strong at Sandown, very strong at Tailem Bend. A bit tougher recently at Townsville. The challenge in the category has always been, pretty much for every driver, trying to seek and find that level of consistency that ultimately delivers championships. How are you tracking there?
Yeah, it's very interesting. I was thinking about it today, on a track that, for whatever reason suits me. The car goes right, I'm basically, unbeatable in the right situation like a lot of drivers are. So it's trying to think, like at Tailem Bend where we were on pole by a fair bit and won the race by 8-9 seconds. You're sort of thinking, how do you do that, week in, week out? So for us,
not very safe.
We need to, try and work on that and try and improve. But there's so many things that come into that. It's a different track layouts, suits different cars, and when you have the car and you have a good car every round, you're not driving it as hard, you're not trying as hard, so you're not making as many mistakes, and you can think about a lot of the extra little 1%, I guess. So that's sort of what it was like at the Bend. You could really nail in on those 1% a bit more, and that's what makes a difference when you're right up the top there.
So you've made the news just in the very recent past and you're on the move now for 2022. Obviously that news for where you'll lob is going to ultimately come through the system and we'll all know and understand. So I won't drag you through that. I know that that'll be to a degree uncomfortable. But what's the basis of the decision? Why are you leaving that organisation, given that in the not so recent past you were able to put together a race win?
Oh, look, there's lots of reasons on both sides of the camp that we both decided that it was time to move on to some other things. I'd been at that team a long time. I'd seen a lot of things, and the last few rounds I haven't particularly enjoyed. So for me, it was just a decision that they obviously are looking like they're going for a young driver, which is really cool. Really cool to see a young New Zealand driver hopefully get in if that's going to be the case. Young Matt Payne. So yeah, it's really exciting as far as that goes. And for me, just a new opportunity, I guess. It's something. A change is as good as a holiday sometimes. So for me, that will be a good thing. I want to move to the Gold Coast. I want to, live there. I'm a bit over living in Melbourne, so that's part of it as well, and a few other things. So, but definitely, but both of us both agree that it was probably the best thing. And it's just one of those things, I guess. Can't keep the band together forever.
Well, it's great to catch up with you. Congratulations on the drive at Tailem Bend earlier in the year. We look forward to the announcement of what comes next in your career. Good luck for the balance of the Repco Supercars Championship as well, and have fun at Daytona tonight.
So, yeah, thank you. No doubt. Hopefully we won't get taken out.
Yeah, I reckon based on what I saw earlier on, there's a fair chance there's going to be some of that going on.
Or I
Thanks,
might
mate.
take someone out. You never know.
Good to, yeah, exactly. Good to catch up, Andre, our Shore live chat this evening. So we're going to jump across now to Sam Brabham, who I had the pleasure of catching up with earlier in the year when we had our first event, the Bathurst Mount Panorama 500, round one of the Repco Supercars Championship. Sam, good to catch up. It was awesome to see you at Bathurst earlier in the year in that beautiful car of your granddad's. What a proud moment for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me as well. It was such a special moment, and I can't thank Repco enough. They're the owners of the vehicle, and to drive such a special car in my family's history, and not just that, but Australian motorsport history and Formula One history was pretty special, and not a bad track to do it around either.
Unbelievable, gorgeous looking machine, just such a beautifully presented race car, and it's typically been sitting in the foyer down there at Repco head office in Melbourne. BT19, great history, great story, great family surname. I want to talk to you about your sim, but I'll come to that in just a tick, because first of all I want to talk about what your immediate racing plans might be. What are you trying to put together at the moment, Sam? Have you got something on the boil? Are we going to see you on the grid in the not too distant future?
Oh, look, I really hope so. Having moved to Australia a couple of years ago, not really getting the opportunities maybe that I felt like I would have liked in the UK. I love living in Australia, and I feel like I can really do something in motorsport here. So long term, obviously, I want to be in supercars. That's the absolute pinnacle of Australian motorsport. Driving against the best drivers here, that's my long term target. Obviously, having not raced here previously, it's going to be important to sort of set the ground running and find the right place, the right partners for a long-term plan. Short-term hasn't worked out in the past, so it'd be good to get a long-term sort of structure in place to do a couple of different series, learn a lot of the circuits, and then put it together for a supercars program, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Well, you've got a pretty wild-looking sim there. Just quickly give us an explanation of what's underneath you.
Yeah, so this is something that the guys at Motum Simulation here in Melbourne have, and for me personally, I much prefer the motion. I've tried sim racing without it, and it's not my natural habitat, sim racing in general, so I find that the motion a lot more beneficial for me personally. It's full motion, so you know, when you brake, the thing moves for you, and I've got the goggles, as you can see on my head here, for the virtual reality as well, which also I think helps with the motion, that's for sure.
I don't know how you do it. You look like you're a welder there at the moment, Sam. Good to catch up. Have fun at Daytona, and we look forward to catching up with you very soon.
Thank you very much. Hopefully I can see you sooner rather than later.
Yeah, indeed. Sam Brabham there, our Shore live chat. We're going to take a break now on the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. On the other side, Supercars stars in their NASCARs.
The Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Crust. Fuel up with Crust.
Hi, Steve's, thanks. Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks. Thanks.
Repco, it starts with the parts.
Make more of the things you want possible with Cash Converters. Life made possible.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Seagate Gaming, specialists in console and PC storage.
This is going to be good. We've got next-gen NASCAR on the high banking at Daytona for our All-Stars race for this evening. Welcome back, Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. This is going to be cool. I expect that we're going to see some pretty heavy-duty tear-ups here based on what we've seen in the last couple of weeks. So, to call all the action, let's get back into the studio at Melbourne, where hopefully things are sorted out again now. Chad Nailon and Jonathan Simon.
I have been looking forward to this all week. What does a Supercars race look like when you cross it with NASCAR's Next Gen? We put all the drivers in. We put the paint schemes in. Jonathan, we're finally about to answer that call at Daytona, no less.
This is going to be very exciting. We get a feel for what Next Gen will be like next year, in a sense, in a NASCAR Cup Series car. This is going to be good stuff.
All right, Shannon's Race Facts. Let's check out exactly how this is all going to boil down at one of the most famous circuits anywhere in the world. This is Daytona International Speedway, and I cannot wait for this.
No, of course. Now, 29 laps of action, 24 minutes if we go time certain, but throw out all the numbers you knew about the supercar because we're heading to a totally different town in NASCAR. One compulsory pit stop will still be required. Here is Daytona, the track map. 31 degrees of banking. That's a mammoth amount through the corners. 18 degrees of banking through the tri-oval, but only 2 across the long 1 kilometre back straight here. It is a very fast circuit, speeds of up to 330 kilometres an hour. Now the drivers must complete their 1 compulsory pit stop in the first 20 laps. And then, Chad, well, rumour mill says we may have a mandatory BP Ultimate Safety Car intervention.
Yes, that will bunch the field up late in the race. We'll get that famous NASCAR late race restart to see who's got the medal to get it all the way to the checkered flag.
No, it's going to be good stuff. Shannon's Insurance Race Facts, of course. Now, Chad, the good thing about this race now as well, we had an open qualifying session, a different SwiftX pole sitter as well. It was an exciting one.
Yeah, the front 3 guys breaking away. Richie Stanaway working with James Davison and also Brody Kostecki. Now, those 3 hooked up nicely in SwiftX qualifying, and as a result, it was Richie Stanaway breaking through for his first SwiftX pole award. He banks $200 worth of Bitcoin. That's US dollars worth of Bitcoin. Nicely done to the folks at SwiftX, helping Richie Stanaway get his first pole award of the year. He is leading that championship charge as well, and now he's on the front row alongside a NASCAR Cup driver. This is your crust starting grid. Stanaway, the championship leader. James Davison, a wild card. He cares not for championship points. He comes for wins tonight. Brody Kostecki not on the front row for the first time. And James Golding will be starting alongside him in that Pioneer DJ car. How cool do these cars look? Macaulay Jones inside the top 5. Dylan O'Keefe for Team Sydney. Strong run inside the top 3 rows. Scott Pye quick again like he was at Pocono. There's Jay Nojada. Nice SwiftX qualifying lap for the 31. Matt Payne, big news for him. He has been signed as a Kelly Grove Racing junior driver. Wonder where that's going to land him in the future. Justin Rouge will be starting outside row number 5. Todd Hazelwood in the Black Duck seat covers car alongside Andre Heimgartner. I love that. Andre Heimgartner and Matt Payne, 2 Kiwis, so close together in this one. Zach Best, Super 2, coming across for Shannon's Insurance from Tickford. There is Chaz Mostert racing in his PJs tonight. Jack LeBrock for Truck Assist. Another one of those Tickford cars starting alongside Tony D'Alberto. Highest we're seeing Tony in qualifying so far this year. Tom Randall and Cam Waters, good buddies, teammates at Tickford. Cam's got some cars to pass. He is up there in the championship. Garrett Smithley, another Cup driver. Rick Ware Racing driver alongside Will Davison. His cousin's on the front row. Matt Klein for Shaw Racing. There is Sammy Brabham. Cool to hear that chat about that modem simulator and the history behind the Brabham name. And cool to see such a famous livery on a NASCAR Next Gen car. And Jake Kostecki off the back. We've got 2 sets of cousins racing in this one as well, the Davisons and the Kosteckis, as we get set to go racing at Daytona. Remember, Brody Kostecki has real speedway experience. Not quite as much, though, as James Davison, who's starting on the front row tonight, alongside Richie Stanaway, looking to go 3 in a row.
It's all about the draft here at Daytona. There are the championship standings with Stanaway on top. And it's big asking for Cam Waters down the back end of the order to make up spots, but he's luckily, out of all racetracks to be at to make up positions, you can do it at Daytona.
Yes, expect drama. Expect the big one to happen. We had one in SwiftX qualifying when half the field got taken out in qualifying trim. We have no idea how this is going to play out. Will the NASCAR boys prevail? That being James Davison and Garrett Smithley. Garrett was on the grid at Daytona for the 400 only a couple weeks ago. Supercars meet NASCAR. We take you to Daytona, and the flashing lights and the waving flag from Barney, and we are racing under lights at the self-proclaimed world centre of motorsport, and out strong to the leaders. Richie Stanaway, Brody Kostecki worked closely with James Davison in SwiftX qualifying, and how cool do these paint schemes look? Supercars liveries, and Matt Payne was into it in the background. And two drivers in the wall early, and oh no, chaos at turn 2. Multiple drivers caught up. Will Davison with big time damage to the front of his car. And I think Tony D'Alberto caught up Cam Waters, top 3 of the championship. And potentially dramas there for Cam as the front guys race on. Now they'll be able to get to the pits, take a Cash Converters instant cash repair. They may lose a lap, but they'll get that back later when we also have our BP Ultimate mandatory safety car period.
I'm just confused how you can crash on first lap at Daytona. So a lot of inexperience around ovals, a lot of drivers hungry to lead up near the front as well. Black Dot's seat covers Camaro of Hazelwood into the apron, Kostecki on the apron as well. Stanaway still leads. Now, this is what we're learning about these cars, is that you get such a big run in the draft, but as soon as you lose the slipstream, you're nowhere. You're done, you're finished, and you'll be caught up by the pack behind.
That was a close one. Macaulay Jones and Brody Kostecki got together on the front straight. Stanaway right where he wants to be. The safest place to be is either right at the front or way down the back. And this Cash Converters instant cash moment. Payne up the racetrack. Contact with Andre Heimgartner. The two drivers in which the rumour mills surround take each other out. Turn 2, lap 1. And the biggest ride of all was poor Tony D'Alberto. He got sent skyward. That was a big one for Tony D. And Jake Kostecki also caught up in that one.
Jake Kostecki did everything right, nailed the brake pedal, and still got involved in the incident. It's so difficult here at 300 kilometers an hour on the opening lap. That's how fast they were driving. These next-gen cars have 5 gears in them, a lot different to the previous 4 gears that these Cup Series cars ran. Look how quick it is. Now, Chad, if you go up on YouTube and you search up a couple of fans who stand next to the circuit here at Daytona as 40 drivers and cars scream past, people are literally swept off their feet.
How cool is this? And we want to get another wildcard driver out for the last round. Auckland Unlimited have launched a wildcard tournament, which is going to give one lucky fan from New Zealand a chance to join the grid. Drive through the smoke, Cole, you can do it. And that's what we're doing down towards turn 1. This is the sure sounds of the game. Nothing sounds like these next-gen cars. How cool is that? These next-gen cars sounding the business at Daytona. Like you mentioned, 5-speed gearbox, something very new. Anyone who has driven NASCAR in any form of game will know that they've had a 4-speed gearbox for as long as anyone can probably remember. I love the promo that Supercars put up online today. Old
Sega Daytona.
Yeah, the old Sega Daytona game that was so famous at Time Zone back in the day.
I used to be pretty good at that as a kid.
I lost many an hour on that game. Between that and Sega Rally. And what a huge step up it is as we go racing at Daytona tonight. It did feature in the All-Stars last year. Shane Van Gisbergen picked up the 2 race wins there. Chaz Mostert on the podium, as was Anton De Pasquale. And Gary Jacobson picked up his best results of the year in oval track racing last year in the All-Stars.
Now a 6-car train here at the front, or let me take that back, 7-car train including Jack LeBrock in the 7th position. You can travel up to 3 or 4 seconds a lap faster than a driver on his own without the draft. Look at James Golding now with the draft, 315 kilometers an hour and rising as Harvey Norman telemetry tells us the numbers. 330 is at your best. It is a very good optimum. And you can see the drivers behind in his rear view mirror just having to peek up the middle line. The bottom is always quickest at Daytona. I spoke to a lot of different NASCAR drivers during the week, and e-NASCAR drivers, of course, as Macaulay Jones decides to head.
I don't think that was intentionally. He thought, do I go in now, because he'd already been pushed down to the low line. And as a result, these guys are going to lose contact with the leaders. So that's broken the front pack up. He might as well pit next lap now.
And what you see in NASCAR is the drivers decide when to pit before the race. There's a little gentleman's agreement between them all, but that time round, I don't know if Macaulay Jones changed his mind or if there was a miscommunication. If he did agree with the drivers to pit on lap 6 and they bowed out of it, a very fishy situation there.
Cool to see Jack LeBrock having a good run tonight in the Truck Assist colours. He's running with James Golding. And they are 4th and 5th for now. Jaden Ojeda trying to run with these guys. Stanaway and Davison still pacing the field with Brody Kostecki at the front.
That issue with Macaulay Jones lost them link to the train ahead. They've lost around about 1 second in the last lap. Macaulay Jones now decides to pit. Maybe Macaulay Jones backed out of it because he was going to speed on entry and decided to back out of it and rejoin the racetrack. And if that's the case, he would have received a 40-second penalty. Brad will certainly not be happy with that because we know he's the master around the ovals.
Back we go to Todd Hazelwood, Chaz Mostert, Tony D'Alberto and Matt Payne in the Cool Drive car. A few of these guys caught up earlier in that lap 1 crash, so a few guys taking that opportunity to just come in and serve their compulsory stop nice and quick. Matt Payne's having fun. Got a huge smile on his face. Picked up a Carrera Cup pole award up in Townsville. Unfortunately, stalled the car from the pole. Very lucky that nobody cleaned him up on the start line and fought back to win a race that weekend off the back, which was a hugely impressive effort. He's a young guy who is on the up in his career, picked up the Toyota Racing Series win, which is one of the best junior categories that you can compete in anywhere around the world. There's a lot of talent show up to race in that category. And Matt Payne is a young driver who we will probably get used to seeing more of over the next coming years now that Kelly Grove Racing have signed him to their junior program. And Hazelwood at the front of this pack. 4 cars working nicely together with Dylan O'Keefe.
You mentioned the Toyota Racing Series. Thomas Randall's won in that one. Lando Norris, Robert Schwartzman, Scott Pye as well.
The footwork, not quite so much footwork going on in the NASCAR Next Gen car around Daytona. That can get a little bit more hectic when you just need to have a little further of that throttle through the mid-corner to make sure that you're not pushing and shoving too much through the mid part of the corner.
I asked a NASCAR driver, how can you describe Daytona? And they couldn't really put it in words. And I said, would you say it acts like an athletics race, but it's also a motor race, and it also acts like a road cycling race at the same time? And they said, yeah, you could put it that way. It involves a whole lot of tactics that you would rarely ever think about. The top 3 at the moment have broken away from James Golding in the Pioneer DJ car in P4. Now you might think, well, there's going to be a mandatory BP Ultimate Safety car. What's the point? This is critical for track position on the restart. We know the bottom is your best line. Will Richie Stanaway maintain the lead after the pit stops, and will he hold the bottom after the restart? That's the question for the rest of this race.
Look how quickly they're reeling in Justin Rugia. So Rugia in that cash converters car running by himself, and he's just going to get swallowed up by the train here. Hazelwood will go around the outside, and it's the express train just blasting past the station. And he's been running by himself for a couple of laps here, Rugia, so he'll have some company and he'll stick into the back of this pack and run with these guys until we get the comp caution a little bit later in the race. It'll be in roughly 10 laps time towards the end, which should set us up for the grandstand finish that we love so much at Daytona. So a few breakaway packs, 10 drivers on the lead lap, including our 2 wildcard drivers in James Davison and his Rick Ware Racing teammate Garrett Smithley. Cool to have them part of the action tonight. Here are the leaders running nicely at the front of the pack. Stanaway, Davison, Kostecki, and Scott Pye, who is down a lap at the moment. So Scott Pye, who was at the front of the field last week at Pocono.
How cool is this? This is a driver's eye view through the eyes of Scott Pye, virtually at least. This is what you'll see on his computer screen. Scott Pye, who fared well at Pocono, had a lot of pace, scored a career best result in any E-Series he's competed with in supercars. Won't do that today so far. He's 2 laps down. I don't think he's got any shot here of reclaiming his lap. This is critical though for Scott Pye. He needs to fly ahead of these top 3. So as much as you might think a lapped car there shouldn't battle with this pack, this is important for Scott Pye's race. If he can make it up the order ahead of Richie Stanaway, he will get his lap back after the BP Ultimate safety car.
Speaking of BP Ultimate, there's Tom Randall in the BP Ultimate and Castrol colours. And BP are proud to fuel all the teams in the Supercars Championship in the real world. And now they want to fuel your cars too for your chance to win a year's worth of free BP Ultimate fuel. Head to BP Ultimate Racing on Instagram to enter that competition right now. Jonathan, that'd be nice. Free BP Ultimate for the year.
Would love it. Thank you, BP. A lot of BP Ultimate fuel here today that's being used around Daytona. Smaller fuel tank, the next-gen NASCAR, only 20 gallons, so around about 75 litres. We're going up a fuel tank next year to 130 litres, a bit more on the Gen 3 supercar.
So drivers who have pitted, including Jack LeBrock. And it's funny because they've come out right at the back of the pack of the drivers who are leading this race anyway. So Stanaway Davison and Brody Kostecki are the top 3. Then the next 3 guys are all down a lap, and then Scott Pye, who's down 2 laps. So just to make it nice and confusing in that front pack.
And you remember there was some disagreements after the first race with lap cars getting in the way of the leaders. If you're Scott Pye in this moment, do you ruin a few more friendships, or do you save your own race and overtake the leaders? Because that's the only way he's in this for a chance at the win, is if he overtakes the leaders this time by.
Yeah, he needs to get 1 lap back badly, doesn't he? So that would then give him a chance to get another lap back during the safety car, put him on the lead lap for the restart, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen here as he works with Jake Kostecki, try and get back onto that lead pack together.
I think we've lost Richie Stanaway, by the way. Has he had a what they call connection issue? He's vanished.
Stanaway is showing up on one timing screen but not on the other. And wouldn't that be big news for our championship leader?
I think he's out. Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
He's out. Yes.
What has happened to the championship leader?
Unless that's how he drives, which I doubt.
He's got a bit of a poker face typically, but this is a problem.
Connection issue there.
I don't believe it. The championship leader looking at potentially no points. He's had a Gary Jacobson leading the race and has lost the lot.
So he's going to blame someone at home for switching on the microwave or the kettle? Is that the reason for his retirement? That's unfortunate. That's our championship leader and pole sitter out of this race. That's motorsport for you. That is the E-Series equivalent to a random engine failure, a random electronics issue. Game over for Richie Stanaway today in round 3.
I've heard that's racing. I guess that's virtual racing for Richie Stanaway. That is a tough beat tonight. And that leaves a very small-looking front pack of James Davison and Brody Kostecki. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen late in the race once we take the restart, because it's going to bunch this field back up and it will really sort this field out. Jack LeBrock looking good as well. He sits 3rd on the road. He is a lap down, but is the first of the drivers to have served their compulsory pit stop so far. So Jack LeBrock potentially going to be a factor late in this race.
Which is interesting because LeBrock is showing up as 46 seconds behind leader James Davison. A lot of quick pace, but he's on his own. Well, at least on the timing screen, I think he's on his own. I've got to look at the track map. Oh, sorry, excuse me. There he is. He's right there on picture. Excuse me. So once the leaders pit, these 2 up ahead of him, do you think they'll appear right behind him? I think they should appear ahead. About 35 seconds we are expecting with that pit transit time. So I think they'll be okay, your 2 leaders.
Well, the problem is once they both peel off to pit, then LeBrock's got nobody at that stage.
Yeah.
Unless he's lucky enough to meet them on the rejoin next time by.
I think they'll be well safe. Well, he's fallen back behind for the moment.
At least he's safe from the carnage, sitting behind those 2 for now. We go back to this battle, which includes Macaulay Jones in 8th, Todd Hazelwood 9th, Matt Payne in the Cool Drive car is 10th. And Tony D'Alberto's dropped back 2 laps, so Tony's had some issues tonight, sadly. It's a bummer. Tony had a good qualifying performance, put in some laps on the weekend as well to try and acquaint himself with Daytona.
Did a decent job in qualifying, although that was a huge lottery of a session. By the way, your leaders have come in of Davison and Kostecki. Don't mean to ruin the fun, but I definitely miscalculated the gaps between them and LeBrock. So I think Davison and Kostecki will be fine in the lead on their out lap.
Jack LeBrock will have a really good start for the restart. So this is really just sorting it out for what the last 10 laps are going to look like after the pit stops and after we have the restart. And that leaves Matt McLean as your race leader. In the shore entry, nicely done, the Super 2 driver, as James Davison takes his pit stop.
That's a long pit stop. Should be 13 seconds for tyres.
He must have sped on pit lane.
Yeah, that's 40 seconds so far. So James Davison has sped on pit entry. That's the only reason why he'd be sitting there so long. Damage will not be an issue. He's smiling,
Can't believe it.
But he's in disgust.
He had a 10-second advantage back to the next car outside of Brody Kostecki. And he is going to go plummeting down the order for the restart.
The next gen car is 1,500 kilograms with a virtual driver and BP fuel on board.
He's still in pit lane. Well, he's now ticked over to a minute 10, a minute 11.
Has he bad-mouthed the stewards and received another minute of penalties? What's going on?
All right, back to this pack. Mostert, Sam Brabham. So Brody Kostecki is your leader. Matt McLean is washed out in second for now. We'll have to wait for another lap before timing will really start to settle down once everyone's back up to speed. Because that's the other thing, even after you come out of the pits, it still takes a good lap to come up to speed. Because there is Matt McLean, and he could be on for a good result tonight as we've got drama at the pit entrance.
It's almost impossible to tell who's involved. Definitely the Matthew Payne there in the Cool Drive Mustang, and Garrett Smithley, our wild card, as the BP Ultimate Safety Car is called.
So Garrett Smithley caught up with that one on the pit entry, and the safety car is deployed. So BP Ultimate Safety Car will pace the field as the carnage ensues. And I feel sorry for Josh Muggleton, our safety car driver. He's going to try and sort this mess out on the racetrack and try and pick up the right car right now, which will be Brody Kostecki, who has a whopping 11-second lead. 11 seconds over James Golding. Todd Hazelwood and Macaulay Jones, so BJR with 2 cars inside the top 5, and Matt McLean inside the top 5. And Tom Randall, who's found himself inside the top 10 nicely. Cash Converters instant cash moment. And let's see if we can figure out what happened. Scott Pye and Jack LeBrock get together. And did this take anyone else with them? No. But that cost LeBrock heavily.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. That's not a spot to sit. Oh, D'Alberto. Matt McLean. That was giant.
A little bit of ping pong while you're at it on a Wednesday night.
So BP Ultimate Safety Car. That looks right at home, actually, at Daytona for the 24-hour, maybe, as he gives a wave around to a few of the drivers who are down a lap. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they wash up on this restart, because that's the closest we're going to get to seeing what the order of this motor race is. We know that Brody Kostecki is leading, looking for his first ever All-Star win. First ever win in the E-Series. Could it be tonight?
Man, what a dramatic incident for Scott Pye. I thought it was over.
Crazy.
Until he was parked sideways there on the racetrack. It's been a hectic event. I'm looking forward to the finish. We did lose a little bit of hope there in the opening laps with the field spread out. James Davison, we'll try and locate him on the timing screen. Will he have his lap back?
At the moment. 15th and on the lead lap. So he's not out of this yet.
That's good.
He should have been restarting in the front row. As a result, he'll be out of, well, a long way down the order in 8th, but he's got some work to do.
Jada Ojeda also had a penalty in pit lane as well, similar to James Davison, so for speeding on entry. And now Ojeda is also down the order in 14th. Now, I'm looking forward to the end of this race, because this is where tactics will get involved. I've seen the finish of the 07 Daytona 500, and that was a thrilling finish with Kevin Harvick and Mark Martin side by side. And that's what we were spoiled there at the start with all the incidents that took place, Chad. We'll get to see more of that here in the finish. Kostecki is the man to beat, though. Will he finally break the E-Series duck?
It's one of the more remarkable records in the E-Series that Brody Kostecki is yet to have an E-Series win, given that he has been the quick guy almost every single weekend. That win is the last thing that is left for him to claim in this championship, where he's been so fast for so long. There he is in the 99. Is this the night for Brody Kostecki to finally get the job done? But there is a long way to go on this one.
So single file restart and not many laps to go. For Kostecki, the aim is not to give up the bottom. Now for Golding, he can't make a move on his own. If he's going to make a move here on the restart, he needs somebody to go with him. You've got two Brad Jones Racing drivers in third and fourth with Hazelwood and Macaulay Jones. Hazelwood, we know, is talking about extending the contract. This will be a good way to help himself out with a victory here. If he pops out and Macaulay goes with him, they're in with a good shot, those two, if they can bring along Matt McLean or somebody else behind as well.
Here we go. Dying stages of this one at Daytona. And it's going to be Brody Kostecki who brings us back once again. And there'll just be 6 laps to go. James Golding replaces James Davison in the front. And we will run to the checkered flag. Can we stay clean and green and keep this big pack of cars going? And the leaders have got out way ahead of everybody else.
A lot of drivers sleeping on the restart. I've never seen something like this. Kostecki and Golding here potentially fighting for the win on their own. Hazelwood just in touch of the pack. And the draft, huge incident, that's Matt Payne in the wall and impaled over at the bus stop chicane.
That was huge, so Payne out of action on the restart. He's top 5 in the championship, so that's going to have some implications. Down the back straight, Brody Kostecki, James Golding, and Hazelwood catch them. And how about the big pack of cars behind them? Jones, Randall, Will Davison, and Matt McLean. Imagine if Will Davison beats his cousin, as there is Garrett Smithley. Can he claw his way back up into this pack? He sits 16th. And James Davison on a march back up to 9th already. Cam Waters, top 3 in the championship, sitting 17th. He's got a lot of cars to pass.
Hazelwood's lost them. He's lost the 10th, and that's it. The further and further you go back from that train, you're out of contention. 8/10 the gap now. I think Hazelwood's done. He'll have to link up with the pack behind of Tom Randall and company. It's between these two. Kostecki never scored a victory in the E-Series despite his dominance. James Golding, neither has he, never scored a podium in the E-Series. This is their shot for glory around Daytona.
2 cars working nicely together. Brody Kostecki, James Golding. Todd Hazelwood desperate to try and close that gap back up.
Now if you're James Golding, there's nobody else behind who really threatens you apart from Todd Hazelwood. So if James Golding goes to the outside on his own, it'll be a brave move potentially for the race victory. He won't have a slipstream either. Oh, this is incredible stuff, Chad. Who knows if James Golding is going to be able to make the outside line work. If he's going to get Kostecki out of the way, he's got to go to the bottom. He's got to move him somehow, shove him out of the way potentially. I'd go for it at the back straight and catch Kostecki sleeping.
If Brody parks this car on the inside, it's going to be really hard for that Pioneer DJ car to drive around the outside. And the other thing to factor in here, we've got just a minute and a half left on our time certain clock. So if he wants to get it done, he may have to go because this race may be pinned a lap. Just one thing to think about towards the end as Randall leads this pack. Will Davison and James Davison, the 2 cousins, get together. And there goes Randall off the bumper of Will Davison. And now the 2 Davison cousins get together. Sam Brabham copped a shot in the roof, and that's huge. 1 extra car piling in. I think it might have been Jack LeBrock, and the 2 Davison cousins have taken each other out at Daytona.
Well, there goes the Christmas cards for 2021 between these two.
They can see the funny side to it. And that has left a huge gap between the guys in the front. Jake Kostecki, who was 2 laps down, sits 4th. So we're talking about the fight of the cousins. Jake Kostecki somehow washed his way out amongst all the carnage to be in 4th at the moment. Kostecki, Golding the top 2. There's Jake Kostecki. So just like in Darwin, we had all Kosteckis inside the top 10 on that day, including Kurt. And this has been a crazy ending once again, but it's a 2-horse race at the front, and it's going to be really hard for Golding to get to the outside.
I think it'll be white flag this lap round. I think this next lap will be the final lap. So if Golding's got to move Kostecki, he's got to do it somehow now. He's got to go for the bottom. Here's 1 lap to go. He's got to go for the bottom at the exit of turn 2 and catch Kostecki sleeping. But he can't take them both out. We've seen that happen before at Charlotte for round 1 between his cousin, Jake Kostecki, and of course, Matt Charter.
And this will be the final lap. And Kostecki gets off the yellow line. He shows the inside. Still got a little bit of time for a wave. as James Golding puts the pressure on. Dylan O'Keefe is down a lap, so just keep an eye on that Team Sydney car. Run to the checkered flag. Final lap. Last corner. Brody Kostecki, James Golding. Kostecki's got the car right where he wants it. Can Golding get a run? To the checkered flag, and it's going to be Brody Kostecki. Brody and the Boost Mobile colours, and finally he has got what he has come to get from this All-Star E-Series, his first win in the All-Stars. Can you believe it's taken that long? He has been the quick guy for so long, and with Richie Stanaway and his internet outage, this has massively helped Brody Kostecki and his championship charge. Kostecki, Golding, Hazelwood on the podium. Jake Kostecki inside the top 5. Sammy Brabham gets fifth, and he was caught up in that crash on the back straight. So that's a great effort. Cam Waters, what a save to get himself to 6th from the drama that he was looking at. Rugia, Randall inside the top 10 despite that crash. And McLean and Scott Pye, who are 2 laps down as well, getting inside the top 10. It's a quirky-looking top 10, but the guy at the front, a familiar name. And Brody Kostecki in your Cash Converters race results gets the win.
Wasn't Randall upside down, or was he at least turned around about 5 minutes ago?
He was.
What a result, and still 25 seconds off the win.
What a save. And that 2-car breakaway, unfortunately for Todd Hazelwood, couldn't quite stick with them on the restart. It was a quirky one. It wasn't quite the big pack race that we expected. But there was a reason for that, because turns out Supercars drivers and pack racing, not quite a program that's going to work. Garrett Swiftly just outside the top 10, and James Davison. So an unlucky night for our 2 wildcards. And had James Davison not had that drive through or that stop-go penalty, he probably would have been fighting for the win. Bosch race highlights. Thanks to Bosch for their help throughout the E-Series in 2021. And there was the field meeting the green flag, and that was as close as they ever got to each other, because on the very first lap, Jonathan, we had dramas.
Bit of a shambles there at the start. There you saw Matt Payne shoved out of the way by Matt McLean in the Shannon's car into Andre Heimgartner. It caused this chaos behind. That was Logitech G Racing's Tony D'Alberto, who went for quite a ride on the top of a lot of tin tops there. Macaulay Jones aborted that pit stop at the last moment. We think he was going to speed on entry and cost himself some time. And then the racing continued here. Scott Pye, though, misjudgment on the bottom line with Jack LeBrock. And the accident didn't end.
Wow.
Part 2.
D'Alberto together, Pye, and also Matt Payne getting heavily collected in that one. And then there was more going on the back straight. Matt Payne on the restart, late race restart, wham! You can't believe it. Yeah, that was a tough ride to take. How about this one? Randall out of action, still finished in the top 10, and then the 2 Davison boys getting together.
Oof. Bish, bash, whack. It's like a comic strip, isn't it? Will Davison enjoyed that one. I'm sure they'll send some Christmas cards at the end of this year. James Davison had a good laugh of this race, but Kostecki finally broke the duck and claimed an E-Series victory.
A 2-horse race, he beats James Golding to the checkered flag. It went time certain by a lap, and Brody Kostecki, Erebus and Boost in that awesome-looking Boost mobile car, getting the checkered flag first. Nicely done, Brody Kostecki. Neil, that was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was something like National Davison Destruction Day out there, wasn't it? With bits and pieces flying in all directions. Hope you enjoyed that, folks. Lots of fun. And finally, after so long trying over such a long period of time with an enormous reputation, Brody gets the job done. And he's lurking around listening to us in the background. Brody, congratulations. Shore Live Chat. Well done. It's been a long time coming, brother.
Yeah, it's about time I actually won one of these things. So was just able to avoid all the carnage, and had Jason from Boost and Pete Adderton on the box tonight, so that was pretty cool, and got a nice picture for all the fans here of Pete and Jace there. So yeah, it was quite an interesting race. It was a little bit boring, you know, through the first stage, but it got pretty exciting after the restart. So yeah, it was good to hold off James there for the win.
Did you have anything left in reserve at all, or was that you totally pinned with James right on you?
Oh, mate, I was pegged from lap 1. That throttle still got the brick on it, I think. So.
All right, congratulations. Well done in the Boost Mobile entry, and look forward to catching up with you soon. Hey, nice work, James Golding. Good to see you up there on the podium. Excellent job in P2, Shore Live Chat. So you've got to be pleased with that one. And we are certainly looking forward to catching up with you later in the year with the Team 18 drive at Bathurst.
Yeah, no, it was good fun then battling with Brody. Haven't done many laps. I literally was at Winton today in the S5000, so I just got home, jumped on 15 minutes before, did a couple of laps, and come away with P2 is pretty cool. Pretty stoked with that, so it's good fun.
On the topic of pretty cool, that beard's looking pretty flash. Well done.
Ah, yeah, I need to tidy it up. Once we get back out there, she'll be gone. Lightweight.
All right, great job tonight. Missed out by a car length in the end. Look forward to catching up with you very soon.
Thank you. Look forward to it. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, James, and well done again to Brody. Don't forget, we'd like to hear from you. Repco Top Performer, jump onto Facebook. Let us know what your thoughts are. Lots of things to talk about for this evening. Some very cool drives. We're out of time. Lots of fun once more. We're back again next Wednesday night with round 4 of the Cash Converters Supercars E-Series. Hope to have your company then, and bye for now.
Cash Converters Supercars E-Series is proudly brought to you by Pagnian, official reseller of Next Level Racing and Thrustmaster products.
Hi, Steve's, thanks. Good choice. That'd be $52.99, thanks.